Podcast is recorded and produced by Emerge, a media creators co-op, in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com.
Hello and welcome back to the Big Yak. It's your boy Nico Salenbenny, and alongside me is a very, very special guest today. Some of the longtime fans may know this guy. Come on down, Mr. Mike Pareto.
Woo, 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 woo.
Hello, hello. There's only me in the room, so the clap's gonna sound really.
I think we should do an ASMR for this episode. Just like, welcome back. This is Mike Pareto here.
It's good to
But
be
dude,
back.
what's going on? How have you been?
It's been a crazy, last half a year.
It's been a year, I think.
Well, yeah, it's been
Yeah.
a year since I've been back here, but the past 6 months with to anybody who doesn't know, I recently became a Niagara Falls firefighter
Congratulations.
slash EMT.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
huge.
you.
That's huge.
So it's been a real crazy ride. Back in August, I started I thought it was the Academy EMT in one, but it was just the EMT school, then the Academy. And so then it was about 5 weeks. So, we went to EMT schools, kind of like, all right, just learn how to be, doctors
Be
on
a
the road,
lifesaver,
kind
you
of.
know.
Yeah, so I really didn't know what to get into, but we learned all this EMT stuff, and then they were like, all right, well, we're going to ship you to the Academy after. So, again, didn't really know what I was getting into, and then, the first day I come in, and they're all trying to be Army, boot camp
Oh,
vibe.
jeez.
And so,
You're like,
your
what
boy,
did I sign up for?
yeah, I was like, I thought we were in the fire academy. I didn't realize I had to march every morning.
You're
And
in
so-
basic training.
yeah, no, really, so there's a funny story about that. I was they usually like to march everybody out in the morning, bright and early at 7 a.m. in the morning.
So you're physically marching.
Oh, I'm physically marching, yeah. So they started, just marching us out. We had a drill hall. We would march out to where this flag pole was. We would salute the flag, all that stuff. And so they started marching around the whole campus, and they started picking on people to lead the march.
Oh,
So the one morning, this is halfway through the academy, I get picked to march, and so we got done saluting the flag. We had to put the flag up, salute, all that stuff, and we're in formation to go back in. They go, Pareto, take him in. I'm like,
He said, anyone else named Pareto?
I'm like, damn it. All right. So then, first thing you should say is so you're split up. We were split up into two battalions, and so basically it was 5 groups of 12 groups of 5. So roughly 60 of us. So you're supposed to say when you're marching everybody in, battalions forward march. So you're supposed to say that.
Sound like Captain America.
Right. And so I go, alrighty, the battalions forward march, and the captain goes, nope, you're fired, done. I'm like, somebody else do it. I'm like, I can't believe I just said I didn't even
You
mean
said,
to say it.
alrighty.
I was like, alrighty. And so I didn't even mean to say it. It kind of just popped in my head. I was trying to say it under my breath or in my head, but it just kind of blurted out of my mouth out loud. And so for the rest of the academy, I got clowned for that. And I redeemed myself 2 weeks later. Had a perfect little marching thing.
There you go.
So yeah, it was cool. It was probably one of the, to anybody who is gonna be a firefighter or going to the Buffalo Fire Academy, I recommend it 100%. Everybody there was awesome. The instructors, the chiefs, all of them are awesome. But it will be some of the most mentally and physically grueling stuff you'll ever experience. Because, they're screaming at you, but it's out of them trying to make you into a good firefighter. The physical stuff, I mean, you're carrying, these like big air tanks on. You got the full like firefighter.
So you're
turnout
like
gear.
training in gear, right?
Oh, we're training in gear.
Yeah.
Like there would be times where we would do stairs with full gear on,
Jeez.
and like when I tell you, man, like they had a bell that they would like have like ready, and if you rang the bell, then that means you quit. You're done. So we had a couple people ring the bell, and I remember like
Like quit, like left the academy.
left
or-
the academy, like you're done.
Wow.
Yeah, so we had a couple people like ring the bell.
It's like Survivor. Like you got kicked off the island.
first Thursday we were there. It was like I don't even know what happened, man. Somebody like screwed up, and they were like, "All right, we're going to teach these boys a lesson and girls. There's two women in the academy. And so it was like we woke up, dude, and it was just straight stairs, push-ups, planks. Like my body has never been that physically
Did
exhausted.
it bring you back to like football?
Like I thought about that, double sessions, like football, like kind of days. But I'm like, oh, this is so much worse.
Yeah?
Like, this is so much worse because they're just like, they're pushing you like mentally too. Because like football, like I didn't feel as mentally like strained.
Yeah.
Like we just did like 5 weeks of EMT. I already have all this information like pounding in my head, and then it's like, all right, now I gotta learn firefighting. And then we're going to, like, teach you how to be a firefighter. We're going to push you, like, all this stuff. And so, like, that first Thursday, I'm like, yo, what the hell did I just get myself into? And so that was just the morning. And then the rest of the day, we're climbing ladders. They, like, try to teach us how to drive. Like, they basically set up this course. They're like, all right, we're going to see what you can do. And I'm like, yo, I've never driven anything larger than my four-door Nissan Altima. Like,
It's like, buddy, I haven't even drove a pickup.
like I've done, like my dad has a pickup, and all I've done is like I parked it in the driveway. And so,
How do you feel about driving a truck now?
Oh, I mean, now it's cool, but like the first week, they're like, all right, like we're gonna have you like go like through this, weave in and out of these cones, and then backwards. I'm like, yo.
So
what is going
when
on?
I was in high school, I edited a video for the police academy,
Yeah.
and you saying the cone like that cones just reminded me about that whole thing.
Yeah.
And it sounds like exactly what you went through, but like,
Yeah, it's very similar.
yeah. Did you have to get pepper sprayed at all or anything like that?
No, didn't have to get pepper sprayed. We didn't have to do any of that. I'd probably say some of the stuff that they made us do, like we had to do a full day of like drills and stuff like that, soaking wet. Like they purposely like made us like something with like sprinkler system. We had to like try to like stop a sprinkler system, but they nobody could do it. They just set yourself so you can learn how to learn how to work wet, like because it's the gear is already heavy
Yeah,
enough, and then you add on like you wear like. You go to a concert and it's raining. You got like a wet hoodie on. It's kind of like you're dragging
Did
around.
you go to
in that.
Pitbull and T-Pain?
I did not. I
It
wanted
was like
to.
that, dude.
Oh.
We were soaked. It was.
Yeah.
Ugh, it was like wet dogs.
Yeah, it was a very miserable day. And so like we had that day, and then there were they had to blindfold you a lot too. So it was called like Mask Confidence Week or whatever. Like we basically had to get it because you had to get used to having a mask with like oxygen like flowing through it. And if you didn't know you're claustrophobic, now's a good time to figure it out. And we had a guy who actually quit because he was claustrophobic.
He
And
just didn't realize
didn't
he was
even know. Like
claustrophobic?
he didn't know. Like he thought he was fine. And so we have a maze there, where you're crawling through. It's tight spaces. It's like you got to take your pack off like at certain points and squeeze it through, and it's a lot. And then like you have to do this blindfolded. Like you literally have to rely on like your instincts. And then the worst part of it was they had a little tunnel that had like these like wires that were hanging in. So like you had to like get under the wires and swoop with your arm, like kind of like a swim move in football. So I was used to that, but then if you got caught in the wires and you're blindfolded, you're like a rotisserie chicken just like wrapped in these wires. And I remember like what was it, like the first or second day, dude, I had a full-fledged like panic attack. Like I was like, yo, like I am stuck. Like I'm like, yo, because we have walkies on us.
Yeah.
And so you could say, if you're stuck, you say, Mayday, 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 recruit Pareto, I'm stuck in the drill house maze. And so then like a lieutenant will come up and untie you.
Yeah.
And so they really don't want to do that, but if you're like, all right, this dude ain't getting out, we're gonna free him. And so, I start panicking. I'm like, yo, like I'm stuck, like, like it was crazy. But yeah, no, when we got to the end of it, like all the lieutenants, all the captains, all the chiefs, like, you thought like there were these like drill sergeants, like they ended up being like super cool. And then like we had a party at the end, having some drinks with like all of them, and I was like, you know what, like these guys are all like, they're all cool. Like I thought I'm like, yo, these are a-holes, like screw these guys.
You're like, I'm never gonna get along with these guys, and then
Oh,
2
man.
weeks later,
Yeah, we, it was just, everything like at the end, I'm like, wow, like it was all for a good purpose.
Yeah.
It's all acting, like,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's all simulations. Like,
Right.
you mean, God forbid, like hopefully you never have to like get into these real world scenarios, but it's
Yeah.
like you have that exposure. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about it was like the camaraderie of it. Like, how do you feel like now? Like, I don't know if you were I don't know if we were live or not yet when you said it, but you're like, it's like a brotherhood.
yeah. So, it was like that during the academy. I mean, you didn't really have the, like you had that brotherhood, like, helping
Yeah.
each other out, like kind of thing. But it really didn't set in until I actually got on the job at, I am at Station 4 or Firehouse 4 down on 10th Street in the Falls. And, I really didn't know what I was getting into. I thought we were just going to go to the firehouse. Maybe I know some guys, maybe I don't. But I got in there, man, and then it's like that first like 2 days, you're like super awkward. Like you don't know what to do. Like, I had to like, I can't really say details, but like I had a really bad like first day.
Yeah.
Like, bad things happened.
Yeah.
I had to perform like,
Do what you had to do.
do what you had to do. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna, break
You got
HIPAA
to see it
laws
for
or-
the full. You got to see firefighting for the full force of what it is.
Right. So yeah, it
And
was
it's
really,
beyond. Like you said before we started going live. It was like it's beyond just fighting fires.
right. I haven't fought a fire yet. Like it's all been EMT stuff, and
Yeah.
it's like I've been on for about a month now. Like actually on the line, at my firehouse, and like after that first day, like you sit with everybody, you're having coffee with them, like at the table, and then they're just like talking to you, like they try to, when you're a rookie, they try to be like hard on you, try to push you, but like when you see stuff that's like the normal human being shouldn't be seeing,
And it
it's kind
changes
of
you, I'm
like,
sure.
yeah, you're kind of shooken up. Like they're like really cool, about like, hey, like if you need to like go get like, they offer like counseling, they offer all that
That's
kind of
good.
stuff, and so like they're really cool about like making sure like you're good, like
Yeah.
you're mentally good. So like that's what I really have appreciated so far. But like I really didn't like understand the whole brotherhood thing until I'm like I'm basically like living there half the week, like
Right.
on the night shift. We're sleeping in the same bunk room together. Like if a call comes through, it's 3 a.m. like, and you're not getting up, like they'll get you up.
Yeah.
Like they'll make sure you're up, and so. It's just kind of like that. They've been really cool. I'm really grateful for where I got assigned.
Yeah.
Because I mean, not everybody is assigned to like the group or firehouse that they wanted to be. You got it. I had the luck of the draw. So
Yeah.
I mean, I would be grateful anywhere I would be stationed in the Niagara Falls Fire Department. But I'm on shift 2. Firehouse engine 4, I love all the guys, so I mean it's been great.
That's good.
But I know a couple of people have taken the test and they're like, yo, I know you got hired, like, and I'm
That's gotta feel good now that you're the guy on the
I'm
other
already
side,
that
right?
guy, and it's like, damn, like I've only been on for a month, like I'm already the guy like answering questions for everybody. I was just this guy like 3 months ago.
Yeah, that's gotta feel cool.
It just happens. So everything happens like so fast, but then it does like that whole academy felt so slow. But then like you're sitting here and it's like, damn, like kind of flew by.
Right. So yeah, that kind of segues perfectly into this next bit. I mean, for those of you that don't know, It was Mike. Mike created the Big Yak. The Big Yak name was Mike's
Oh, yeah.
idea. So when Mike and I mean, when we started the show, I mean, it was 2 years. It was what 2 years worth of episodes. We hit like right about
Yeah.
a year and a half around
Yeah,
there.
it was like it was a year and a half.
It was
2 years,
almost.
yeah.
It was about what 85 episodes we did together.
Yeah, we
just
had
about.
almost like 100. Yeah.
Damn near every single Wednesday, 7:00 every single week from June 2022 to February of 2024, which is crazy, and it's led me and given me some opportunities to kind of grow and expand beyond what I expected it to. When you first gave me that call and we had coffee at Starbucks planning it all out, like it's
Yeah.
crazy how far it's come, and now even just in this year where you and Jackson have stepped away and just kind of seeing just you progress as a person and like as your friend, like it's so cool to kind of see it from the outside looking in. Like it's nothing but congratulations, and it's
man.
just been nothing but love and just so excitement to see you grow and do what you want to do. Like,
Yeah, like when that happened, when we stepped away back last February, I mean, like my one thing was like I have extreme confidence that Nico's going to deliver and he's gonna keep growing this thing because we put a lot of heart and soul into this thing and
hours
had a lot
dude.
of guests, a lot of good guests, like and just guests that like came from all over. Like we had guests from Timbuktu, like
We had remember when we interviewed some guys? Were they from Nebraska? Was
yeah,
that-
oh yeah, Omaha,
the
Nebraska,
Chargers, the
like,
Chargers guys.
That was just some random
It was
account.
so cool. Like we got to like look back and and like looking back at it, we got to interview all of these random people across the country that like you would have never in a million years ever crossed paths with. Like we got like the guy like Tipped Balls from Detroit. Like that
Yeah.
was a huge guy. And now they're blown up. Like they have like thousands of followers, and it's
Yeah.
so cool. Like they started around the same time as we did, and just like. They're just a couple hungry dudes, and
yeah.
figured it out. I mean, we could spend this whole hour just talking about all the previous guests we've had, but then I don't know, like we got to interview like current players. I mean,
That
wow,
was-
that was the coolest.
That was probably like my most favorite. Like and I'm not like trying to like pinpoint
Yeah.
like what my favorite points of like being on the show was, but like that spotlight series when
that
like
stretch.
that stretch that we had, especially like some of those names, I'm just like, and then to see them drafted, like that was probably like the coolest part.
I
of,
remember,
like,
and don't get me wrong, like there was a lot of work that went behind the scenes with me and Mike
Yeah.
just like literally cold calling. We were sending messages after messages after messages to literally anyone.
copy and paste.
We had this group chat going of like all of the all-star college game rosters.
Yep.
And literally like crossing them out as we went. Did we send a message to him? Did we send a message to him? Did we send a message to him? Like literally I felt like an NFL scout.
Yeah, no, like that was the coolest. Like that was my favorite part. Like, and it was just like interviewing those guys, and then on draft day when we saw like Chandler Zavala get drafted in like the fourth round. I'm like,
Whoa,
yo,
whoa.
we drafted.
Jackson-
Or not, we didn't draft that guy. That was like a GM. We interviewed that guy,
Yeah.
and then like him, like Nick Jones.
Nick Jones. I think the coolest part was James Droz announcing the pick,
Droz.
and then James Droz like interacting with us.
Yeah, that was like he was like, thank you for tagging me. I'm just like,
We had, I mean, Terrell Ford. Terrell's been on multiple times.
Yeah.
He's probably been on the show 4 or 5 times now. But I remember when he was talking about a player that inspired him to be Cordero Patterson, and then
Yeah.
Cordero Patterson interacted with us. Like,
oh my god, dude! I was like,
Really?
I was like shaking in my boots, man. I'm like, yo, like NFL players are like interacting with like that. That was like, yo, I'm like,
that
this-
was a
this
lot
is
of fun.
cool.
And so, it's always fun to look back and reminisce. And you know what? We got to see that a little bit these last couple days with the NFL honors. Looking back at this 2025 season.
Oh yeah,
And celebrating and enjoying all the fruits of all these players' labors, celebrating all the type of different awards. So going back, I'll lead my way from the bottom up. We got assistant coach of the year going to Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Vic Fangio was a finalist, which was interesting to me. And I was listening to WGR this morning, and did you know that Vic Fangio has like a better success rate against the Chiefs than anybody else?
That I actually didn't know. I mean, I thought he had a good season with. I mean, where is he? Philly, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
he's. I
like-
mean, here we go as we go into this game. That we're gonna see that in motion.
Yeah. So yeah, Vic Fangio. I mean, I feel like with him, it's all about like the right fit. Like when he went to Miami, like I thought like we were in for it.
Yeah.
But it really wasn't that
It
good of
just
a
didn't
fit
mesh,
for him. It didn't click. But you give Vic Fangio guys like Jalen Carter. You give him like they made Nick Bond.
Yep.
A guy who was like a special teams like linebacker most of his career into an first team All Pro linebacker like.
Oh, you're talking Zach Bond? Yeah.
Oh,
he
Zach.
was,
I said Nick Bond.
He was
Zach
a
Bond.
finalist for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, like I remember him like a couple of years ago, like being just like a guy who would play like punt coverage, and I'm like, all right, cool. I remember like having him on Madden, he'd be like a cut candidate, like, So, yeah, like seeing guys like that is cool. Like he's transformed some of these guys, and then like the rookies that they got, Kenyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, like. I loved Kenyon Mitchell coming out of the draft, and then
Absolute lockdown.
yeah, Cooper DeJean. Like I had like my like questions about him, but like in the end, like him going to Philly, I was like, like questionable, but like let's see how it goes. And he ended up balling out. So you give Vic Fangio guys like that, like he literally has a perfect setup on defense between veterans and young guys.
And then he has the mind. Like if you give him the pieces, he's got the mind to put it all together. And yeah, it's
100%.
something like I saw the one stat that stuck out to me was goal to go. The Chiefs, whenever against 31 other defensive coaches, 31 other defensive coordinators, their touchdown rate at goal to go is like 74%. With Vic Fangio led defenses, it's like 36%. So Fangio kind of has that little secret to success, and they were kind of speculating what would it cost the Bills to have him as like a senior defensive assistant or something like that. But I mean, how WGR gets with some of the crazy takes, but some of those
they kind of run with some stuff.
some of those stats. I mean, it's interesting, and it was a cool conversation piece that I heard this morning. Moving on to Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings won over Dan Campbell, Sean Payton, Dan Quinn, and Andy Reid. I think that's great. I mean, who would have thought that roster would have done what they did? Go 14 and 3 or 13 and 4?
Yeah. 14 and 3.
And having a season that Sam Darnold completely turning around his career, looking to make probably $20 million a year next year.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you say other than like that's coaching? That's coaching in the organization.
Yeah, and he's been a guy. I've seen a lot of rumors like there's a lot of teams that were trying to like trade for him, like as a coach, and like
You don't
if you're
see it
getting
often.
if you're getting offers like via trade from other teams, like you're doing something good. So he was great. He made a couple good hires like Brian Flores. He's like another guy with like Vic Fangio, like. A guy, he was in Miami, defensive guy, just didn't really click. I'm not shaming Miami at all, Dame, if you're watching this, like
It's okay.
we'll see.
We can shame Miami.
Yeah. So what's it called? Brian Flores comes to Minnesota, and he was I think he was one of the runner-ups for assistant.
I don't know.
of
It
the year.
sounds like Miami is the problem.
Miami
Brian
might be-
Flores,
Vic
Vic Fangio.
I don't know. So yeah, no. Brian Flores is aggressive, man, and like he turned. They have young guys, they have veteran guys. Names like Cam Bynum, like I know he was a big celebration guy. People know him for his celebrations, but like he was a turnover
He was a
magnet.
playmaker.
Yeah,
he was a playmaker.
Like,
He had to have a reason to celebrate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
right. So yeah, Kevin O'Connell. I think he is a great offensive mind. Who that whole like LA Rams like that whole coaching tree. Where they all derive from.
McVay is building that tree. It's so crazy to me.
Like it's derived off of what? Andy Reid or
it's
not Andy Reid?
No, it's Shanahan.
Yeah.
Started from the Shanahan tree with
Mike
the
Shanahan and
then
then-
Redskins.
Yeah, so then like it's all derived, and then I feel like McVay is building his own like separate tree.
Yeah.
like
Yeah, absolutely.
so and then like his tight end coach just became the offensive coordinator, I believe, for Houston. I want to say.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, I
yeah.
just saw that. That was just reported the other day.
Rams got a little bit of a coaching.
They got something going.
Yeah, coaching bullpen coming out. So
Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow wins it over Sam Darnold, J.K. Dobbins, Christian Gonzalez, and DeMar Hamlin. Now, there was quite a bit of argument as to what the award, what was the spirit of the award, and so
Right.
you kind of had this like two pools of thought, where it was like a guy that sucked last year and then became better, or it was someone that was returning from injury or a catastrophic event. Cough,
Mhm.
cough, DeMar Hamlin.
right.
So then you have this pool of like, okay, Joe Burrow had a season-ending injury last year.
Mhm.
Sam Darnold sucked. J.K. Dobbins, season-ending injury year after year. Christian Gonzalez, season-ending, and that was the one that was weird because it's like he only missed like half the season. It was like mid-season and then came back. And then DeMar Hamlin obviously overcame
Yeah.
death.
I think like the Joe Burrow one, I understand it. I mean, he came back from a pretty bad wrist injury, to where the criticism that he had in the offseason was, is he ever going to throw the ball right again?
Yeah.
So I think this year, Joe Burrow getting it was well-deserved. Some people are upset about, some Bills fans are upset about DeMar Hamlin, but, like, I feel like that was more, like,
That would have been if he had the
last
season
year.
that he had this year, last year,
yeah.
then it would have been a no-brainer.
Yeah, so I think Burrow deserved it. I mean, also, this is his second comeback player of the year since he's gotten drafted.
Yeah, he
So, I
mentioned
mean-
it in his speech.
yeah.
He goes, this isn't an award that I wanted to be nominated for twice, but hey, I'll take it.
There you go. But I think it's deserved. I think Sam Darnold would be like my good second.
Yep.
Just because like he really came from like the woodworks. Like
Yeah.
he was leading towards journeyman
Absolutely.
journeyman career.
Could
And
have been leading towards retirement,
leading
really.
toward retirement. I mean, he's still
Forced retirement.
and I'm hoping, he still continues the level of play that he did. Unfortunate, the way things went in the postseason for him and the Vikings, I'm hoping we see him build off of this season and become an actual, like, year-to-year starting
I feel like
quarterback.
I could see him sign into a team, 2-year, $40 million. Maybe if the Raiders don't really get their luck, with the draft. I mean,
Yeah.
they might even just bring someone like Sam Darnold in and then have the rookie sit for a year.
Yeah, I just hope he doesn't become like no offense to Mr. Trubisky, but like a Mr. Trubisky kind of
No,
thing. Like,
yeah.
I hope he doesn't just kind of like have this good year and then fizzle out. You
Yeah.
know? Or like I'm trying to think of like somebody else, but it's coming to mind. But yeah, no, I hope he can build off that. But Joe Burrow, I think for this year it was deserved.
I agree. So the rookies of the year: Jaden Daniels on offense and Jared Verse on defense.
Oh yeah.
Jaden Daniels won over Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors, Bo Nix, and Brian Thomas. Jaden Daniels had 49 of the votes. Brock Bowers had the one.
I think
And it wasn't Tom Brady.
it wasn't Tom Brady. I think it should have been unanimous. Not gonna
I agree.
lie. Like I love
Absolutely.
Jaden Daniels did things that nobody even expected him to do.
See, he did things that you expected Caleb Williams to do.
Right.
And the problem is, and the thing that, the thing that's interesting to me is Caleb Williams, for all intents and purposes, did not have a bad rookie season.
No,
He had a really solid rookie season around a horrible team and a
Right.
putrid offensive line. But what Jaden Daniels did was the exception. It was an outlier. And
Yeah.
we just happened to see two outliers 2 years in a row. Last year was CJ Stroud, this year was Jaden Daniels, and I would argue, and I don't even think there's an argument here, that Jaden Daniels' rookie season was better than CJ Stroud's rookie
100%.
season. I mean, you're talking about almost going to the Super Bowl. You're talking
One game.
one game away from the Super Bowl. That would have been history. But
Right.
yeah, I agree with you. It should have been unanimous. And now Jared Verse, I was actually kind of interested in this one, considering like Quinion Mitchell was another one that came to mind. Cooper DeJean was interesting. So it's also really cool that the Eagles had two defensive rookies, both
Yep.
over defensive rookie of the year. So Eagles are doing something right.
Yeah. Jared Verse. Love Jared Verse coming out of college. Forest State just had like a bunch of prospects that like were really intriguing. Him and
Rams
Braden
were such a great fit too.
Yeah, Braden Fisk. Like when they got both Fisk and Verse, I was a little skeptical, but I was like, like this could work. Like having two college teammates, keeping their chemistry going, and then they're on the same line. Like they did a great job of replacing the whole
Massive shoes to fill.
massive shoes to fill. But like like if they keep building off of the rookie years that they both had, like those shoes are gonna be filled. And Aaron Donald was a generational defense player, best in my mind, the greatest interior defensive lineman of all time. But like having a cohesive D line like they do, like they have Kobe Turner as well. I believe they have another solid edge guy opposite of Jared Verse. So Jared Verse, he was just dominant. Like his pass rushing skills were great. He has everything that you want in a pass rusher when it comes to skill sets. Like he can bull rush. He's a great spin move. Has a great good rip move, and he knows how to. He's a quarterback predator. Like he hunts the quarterback.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean. Like
I knew the word you were trying to say,
like,
but you didn't want to use that word.
I was trying to say like a good word, but like I didn't want
hunter.
Quarterback hunter. Yeah. Quarterback predator.
Makes
it seem a little
little questionable.
Yeah, so
I mean, and that being said, you just got to hand it to Les Snead too. Oh my goodness.
Great drafts.
You want to talk about like just consistently amazing GM who never I feel like I never hear like anyone like really talking up Les Snead, but like especially these last 2 years, I mean, completely changed around this offense. This team after they won the Super Bowl blew up. Like they blew up the entire team, and they're still contending every year.
Right. I know, I completely agree.
Moving on to offensive and defensive players of the year. So Saquon Barkley, obvious choice, won it over Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Jamar Chase, and Derrick Henry. And Pat Surtain, I loved this, won defensive player of the year over TJ Watt, Zach Bond, Myles Garrett, and Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, the year Pat Surtain had was great. I mean, lockdown, that whole Denver defense. I know Buffalo.
Nasty.
Buffalo unraveled them in the wild card, but Pat Surtain, he's been locked down for the last couple of years, and to see a cornerback winning it for the first time, I believe, since Stephon Gilmore.
Since Stephon Gilmore.
So to see a cornerback win it is great. But the other guys had great years too. I mean, T.J. Watt's always dominant. Trey Hendrickson is a guy who, he's overshadowed by guys like T.J. Watt, Myles Garrett.
He led the league in sacks, right?
I believe so. He had 17. He's had back-to-back years of 17 and a half sacks.
It's just like stupid number. That's like NCAA like Division II numbers where you're going season after season with 17 and a half sacks.
Right. Trey Henderson is a baller, and he might be available via trade. So yeah. So I mean, I would love him. I would love him in Buffalo, but I would love a couple of the guys who are on the quote-unquote trade block
Max
in
Crosby, Myles Garrett. Oh, these
I
names,
want-
you're starting to salivate a little bit.
I
after
love
these
Greg
names.
Rousseau in Buffalo, but that other defensive end spot I feel like is lacking.
Yeah.
And so Trey Henderson as a Bill, I would greatly appreciate, but we'll see. We'll see what Cincinnati does with him.
And then the creme de la creme to top it all off.
Oh yeah.
MVP between Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. Our boy Josh Allen took home his first MVP.
I am so proud of him. I'm just like
It's like a proud dad moment.
It was a proud dad moment because last year we were on the show and it was kind of like we had that big debate with like Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
I was riding
the Dak train.
The Dak train.
I was kind of like playing like the middleman, and then Jackson was like just complete opposite, like Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
and
it was like he wasn't even for anyone else. He was just so anti Dak Prescott.
He was so anti Dak Prescott. But this year there's a lot of people like trying to say it's a pity award. Like they just gave it to Josh because they feel bad with how things have went for him and the Bills. But honestly, like he is the most valuable player on the team, and they're an AFC Championship team.
You know what? At least what I liked between the voters from last year compared to this year, there was consistency.
Yeah.
Where it was last year, okay, it wasn't necessarily about the numbers. That's what All Pro is for. In my head, I've always thought like this: like All Pro is for like the stats and the
Yeah.
numbers and the QB rating and whatnot, the passer rating, what have you. But MVP is who's the most valuable person in the league to their team.
Right.
Josh Allen fits that bill. I mean, I think what really did it this year was Josh Allen not having any All-Pro help around him, and Lamar Jackson having 5 of them.
Right. And like last year it was like the same thing. Like, Dak had the better statistical year than Lamar. I mean, Josh last year, I've mentioned it last year on the show, like he just had a little too many turnovers for my liking to be an MVP or All Pro or like anything like that. But last year it was like the same thing. Like Lamar did not have the greatest statistical year. I mean, he had 24 touchdown passes, like 3,600-ish yards, and he ended up winning MVP. Last year, didn't have an All-Pro running back in Derrick Henry.
He didn't have anyone around him. It was the one-man show with Lamar last year.
Yeah, like you had Zay Flowers, but Zay Flowers, like, he had a solid rookie year, but he wasn't, like, he's not like a household, like, name.
Not
like,
yet.
He's not
Not
an elite receiver.
last year.
You got, like, you have Mark Andrews last year. Pretty sure Mark Andrews
got
was
hurt.
Like, he kind of was just, doing his thing out there. And that's why he did what he did, led Baltimore to 13-win season, I believe. It was, or 13-3 win season last year. He had a 12-5 year this year. So he had a better record last year. He was the most valuable player on that team. So in Buffalo with Josh Allen this year, I understand James Cook had a career year, had a bunch, led
17 touchdowns.
Almost led the entire league in total touchdowns. But for receivers, I mean, Khalil Shakir was your most consistent receiver. You had the disappointment in tight ends with Kincaid and Knox. Unfortunate, but I'm still rooting for those guys. But they had disappointing years. Keon Coleman, great start to the year, but then second half got hurt.
After that injury.
Wasn't the player that he was.
Brandon Beane said that. Brandon Beane said he was not the same player after injury.
And if a guy like Brandon Beane, Mr. Nice Guy Brandon Beane, like how he is, saying that in a press conference, like, there was a problem.
And then he said, like, he was more direct, too. They talked. I mean, him and McDermott both talked for about an hour each. And when he said the same thing with Dalton Kincaid, like, got to be better.
Right.
You've never heard him be so direct with his players about that.
And I think it stems from, like, it's the pressure. You may not say there's pressure building, but I mean, listen, like, you're only gonna have Josh Allen for so many years. So I mean, you gotta capitalize on the good years he has. And so he's about to enter year 8. I mean, just won his first MVP.
He's 28 years old. Like we gotta be honest here. Like this is year 8 is.
Yeah,
it's like when your it's like when your baby like starts to get older, and he's 36 months old. You're like, no, just say he's 3.
Say
like,
he's 3.
Yeah, he's in his 8th year. Like at this point, like you're just like a straight up veteran.
Right. So I think they don't want to waste. Now you have an MVP quarterback.
Right.
You don't want to waste his years, and so for me, Josh was the most valuable player on one of the best teams in the NFL. I mean, Joe Brady, I think, is a great offensive coordinator, but like he took what Joe Brady gave him and like escalated it. He made plays. That play he made versus San Francisco, the toss to Amari Cooper and the toss back, like that is an MVP caliber play.
Absolutely.
I love that play. Putting the team, the run with KC, like that's putting the team on your back. And I'm not saying Lamar doesn't do that, but I mean,
those were 2 moments that really kind of gave it to Josh Allen this season.
Right.
For sure.
I forget who said it like today or yesterday. I think it might have been Dan Orlovsky or somebody, but they said when you're game planning against the Bills or the Ravens, like on the Bills, you're game planning for Josh Allen.
Allen and Josh Allen only.
Josh Allen only. I mean, I know James Cook is good, but James Cook, maybe after this year, we'll start getting like that hype, that that elite running back, upper echelon hype. But when you're planning for Baltimore, it's Lamar and it's Derrick Henry. I mean, I know before his injuries last year, like 2023, I believe Mark Andrews was a first-team All-Pro. Like, you can't ignore a guy like that either. So, I just think that, like, will I say this right now? Lamar Jackson had a better statistical year than Josh Allen, obviously. But again, you made a good point. First team All Pro, I think, was very deserving for him. MVP for Josh.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's the first time we've seen it happen since '85, but you know what? I feel like this is kind of the future of the league, where we're gonna see. I mean, I feel like we just like multiply in unicorns. You know
Right.
that the term unicorn gets thrown around so much now, but it's
Right.
like you have all of these players that have done things like never before, like your Patrick Mahomes, your Josh Allen's, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Then you bring in C.J. Stroud, you bring in Jaden Daniels, and I mean that's just seven. That's a quarter of the league we're talking about already. So it's so I feel like we're just gonna see this that split between MVP and first team All Pro. It's you have to find a way to award more guys because sometimes it's not black and white of who the best player in the league was.
right. And this MVP race, I mean, leading up into the last night, I mean, it's probably one of the most like intriguing MVP races we've seen.
Absolutely.
Like,
And
you
the-
really didn't know who was
The
going to win.
odds jumped back and forth over the last few weeks. I mean, no one really knew.
Nobody really.
And it
knew.
was a close vote too. It wasn't a runaway. It was
Right.
27-23. That was the vote for first place.
Yeah, it was close, but I'm just going back to my dad moment. I'm just so proud of Josh. Like, he's endured so much in these past 7 seasons, and like, not so much like obviously a lot with football, but like he's obviously had some off the field stuff that's
the city
happened
of
too.
Buffalo as a whole.
Yeah.
That long time, split up with a longtime girlfriend. Then kind of that journey. People always look at it as a positive, but there's also the downside of like being in the limelight all the time with dating like an A-list actress like Haley Steinfeld. And
Right.
now they're engaged, and so that's just another life event. There's so much going on outside. It's crazy. Actually, I saw that. Did you see that video of him reacting to the video from Oshai?
Yeah, no, yeah, that was
That was a
emotional, like,
tearjerker.
yeah, that was, and that just like speaks volumes of who he is. Like, he's
Yeah.
not one of those quarterbacks who are just there for the money. He's not here in Buffalo for the money. Like, he's here because he loves being here, and he is a generational, not just quarterback, but a generational guy.
Yeah.
And so,
It's a good way to put it.
not a lot of quarterbacks in this league are like that. I mean, there's some quarterbacks who are selfish. Some quarterbacks, don't really care about giving back to the community. But like this dude, like, he donates. He'll go to Oshai Children's Hospital and spend his off days with children he doesn't know.
No, my girlfriend works there, and so Bree,
Yeah.
I think she's met him like 3 times because
Oh, really?
he just goes
Just
there.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, the Patricia Allen wing, Patricia Allen fun, like that was such like when it started, it was just kind of like it was small, and it just
Yeah.
like blossomed into this like beautiful thing, and it's
So
like
cool.
yeah,
So
I'm just so proud of Josh. This is like the first time I think since the McDermott being era that like after a crippling postseason loss, like something
The
like
vibes are a little bit higher.
yeah, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, yo, we finally like got something going for us.
There's
Like,
something to cling on to. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
and it's like usually like the last couple years with like the Bills losses in the postseason, like you kind of just mope around until March. You get free agency, Bills make a nice move. You're like, all right,
It's
and then
the circle of despair.
then you go to the draft, and you're like, okay, cool, and then like then it's another like kind of moping around again until training camp starts. But like this is kind of like a breath of fresh air. Like it kind of broke the circle a little bit.
Yeah, there's no drama. There's
Yeah.
it's just a lot of uplifting. I mean, these guys love each other, man.
Right.
You see the camaraderie, and you know what? I truly don't think it was Stephon Diggs dividing up the locker room. I think that's overblown, but
yeah.
the way that these guys all get along for whatever reason it is this year, I mean, it's so cool to see, and I feel like you just haven't seen that from this team in years.
No,
So
yeah. I mean, I'm not here to blame Stephon Diggs or anything like that, but I mean, maybe he was. We don't know. Maybe
Right.
he was the problem.
we
really
don't know, and we'll never know,
But-
which is unfortunate. But
Yeah, but who they brought in this year, like guys like Mac Hollins, like that was a sign. That was like a signing that like I was very.
I didn't
like,
know if he was gonna make it out of training camp.
Right, like like I remember him on like Atlanta, and I'm like he made plays here and there. I remember him on like Miami. You know, like
Special teams guy.
Yeah, I'm like, he made plays. And I was like, I don't know how he's gonna fit in this offense. And then like come week 1, he's starting, and I'm like, oh, what are we doing here?
Leads the team in receiving touchdowns.
Leads the team in receiving touchdowns. I was at the Denver. The only game I went to this year was the Denver wild card game.
Yeah.
And the hit that he put on, I think it was Marvin Mims.
You could hear it. I was there.
Yeah.
You could hear that hit.
Yeah, like he put a licking on Marvin Mims, and I was just like, damn. That play, like the whole, like I was pretty like comfortable with him, like without the regular season, but that play and then the touchdown catch versus the Chiefs, in the divisional, was like, like we need this guy. Like we need this guy in this team. Like, he's not gonna be that expensive. Like we just need a guy like that on the roster.
Yeah.
Like a guy who could just make a play if called upon. I don't want him starting. I'm not gonna lie, I don't want him starting. Like 'cause I know we could do better.
Yeah.
That sounds really fucked up, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my cursing, but
It's
it
the
sounds messed up.
firefighter in you.
Yeah, I know. It sounds messed up. Like I just was praising him, and then I just said like, oh, we need to do better. But like, we need a guy like that on the roster.
You need a guy that can fill those roles.
But I also
not every guy can be the best guy.
Yeah, but I also want an alpha receiver.
Yeah.
So like, it's kind of like, all right, we need to like pick straws here. So, Matt Collins, you sign him to a 1-year, $3.5 million contract. Like, I'm happy. 2
Easy.
years, whatever.
Easy. It'd go up to like 5-6, really. I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, like for what he did for this past season.
Yeah, his contributions were very, they didn't seem that much on paper, but like, to Bills fans, like it holds a lot of weight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Josh Allen winning MVP and then also winning the Art Rooney Sportsmanship Award.
Forgot to mention also, Josh Allen was not the only person who won. I also went in August. I put a future bet in Pennsylvania because you can't do it in New York State.
Yeah,
I
you
put
can't bet on players.
Yeah, I put $20 on Josh Allen to win MVP, and I won $180 last night.
Ayo.
So that happened. I was happy for Josh. I was like, I also got paid.
I got $180.
$180. So I just want to put that out there. So,
Hey,
yeah.
Shout out Josh Allen for keeping the lights on for
I'm
Mike.
doing it again this year.
yeah, hedge it. Just put the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Re-roll it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so not bad for a guy that was the most overrated player and the biggest trash talker to win the Sportsmanship Award and MVP.
There you go. He also won FedEx
Aaron Brown Player of the Year.
with Jamar Chase.
Yes,
So,
he got the triple crown in someone's triple crown.
yeah. Good night for Joshy.
Hey, huge night. And then
I'm Josh Allen. I'm MVP. I'm dating superstar actress Haley Steinfeld. I'm so cool.
my whole city loves me.
My whole city loves me. Ah.
Oh man, but yeah, no, that was a great award show last night, and it was a fun watch. That was my first time really sitting down and watching. The whole thing.
Same here.
And it was kind of fun. I liked it. Snoop Dogg was a funny host. Like there was some jokes.
There were some moments.
I liked it, but
Jelly Roll, like, what are you doing out there, man?
they had the most random guests too. Like the most random people
What are you
came out
doing
there.
up there, Jelly Roll? Like, we're number 73 from the
Yeah,
title.
when
Like,
when
alright.
Snoop rolled out with his with his football, like he had like all of his, he had everything on,
Right.
but like he just looked so like small.
Yeah, he looked.
Cracked the
fine.
joke at Bill Belichick too. That was good.
Hey man, they're apparently our friends. They're homies. So I'm like, all right, whatever.
Before we go, obviously we got to talk about the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
So I feel like you're hearing this all the time. You're hearing it everywhere in Buffalo. Oh, yeah, we're boycotting this. No, you're not.
I'm not boycotting.
Everyone
nothing,
like,
man.
shut up. You know you're gonna watch the game. You're gonna watch the commercials. You're gonna watch the halftime show. You're gonna watch it to the very end, and then you're gonna complain and moan about whatever the outcome is, one way or another.
Right.
We all know that this is what's gonna happen. No one's boycotting. I don't know where this 50,000 people boycotting the Super Bowl came
They're
from,
not.
but that's not happening.
Yeah.
So like it just threw me off a bit. Where I'm like, we're the city of good neighbors. Don't be the city of sore losers.
Like there's businesses that are hosting boycotting parties. Like, you know what
They're
I mean?
gonna-
It's like,
yeah, but their employees are gonna go on break and they're gonna go tune into the Super Bowl.
right,
like, you know what I mean? It's all a
right,
show.
know. Especially, dude, if Philadelphia ends up winning, like, dude, those fans are gonna like,
Fair.
oh, I love this year's Super Bowl. Like, I enjoyed it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, but like, I think a lot of people are expecting the worst. And you heard it from like the Super Bowl, the media days. Like, they're asking the Chiefs players, like, you enjoy getting the favorable calls from the refs. Like,
you know what? I'm sure the Chiefs players absolutely eat that up behind the scenes. They're like, hell yeah, we're so good that they're just like,
yeah,
that's what it comes down to. And sure, like without a doubt, you can without a say that the Chiefs did get more favorable calls throughout the season than other teams. That's
just like when Tom
that's
Brady
fact.
played.
Exactly.
So-
But it's like it is ludicrous and foolish to say, oh, the game is rigged for the Chiefs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. One way or another, I will be watching the Super Bowl. I will be
100%.
watching every minute of the Super Bowl, and I'll be watching all the commercials too.
True football fans are watching the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
Like, you're a true enjoyer of the game. You're watching the Super Bowl, and especially they just met 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. And it was a good game.
That was one of the better Super Bowls we've had in years.
It came down to a one possession game.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm totally watching this. I don't care. The Bills haven't made it to that stage. They've lost, been a game, 2 games away, whatever. But like the Super Bowl to me has always been a holiday. And
You're getting
even
to
if
see the
Bills-
best two teams go at it. Like at the end of the day, they're watching two Titans clash, and that's if you're a fan of the game, you're watching this.
Right. I would have loved to seen maybe like I would have loved to seen like a Detroit in there maybe instead of Philly. Just
Sure.
kind of switch things up a little bit. But still Philly is a powerhouse.
And I felt like all this year, I feel like Philly was just kind of slandered.
Yeah.
Like they were doubted, they were thrown down, and it's weird because they've been so dominant for since the Jalen Hurts era started that like it's weird to kind of call them underdogs, but I mean even here they're 1.5 underdogs, or it's like I feel like they've always been slighted. They've been slighted for this whole season, really. And so, it's weird, but like Philadelphia can kind of embrace that underdog, Rocky Balboa mentality. And I think it's going to be a great game to watch. There's a lot of good storylines here.
Right.
It goes beyond just the Kelsey Bowl or whatever, like what have you.
3P.
I'm more excited to see Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
More than anyone else, I am rooting for Saquon Barkley to get a ring.
Never been on the big stage yet.
Yeah.
So I know I'm totally rooting for him. I'm totally rooting for guys like AJ Brown, a guy who's been in the league for quite some time, hasn't gotten a ring. So
You got any props that you enjoy for this
any
game?
props? I mean, let's see. Might have to pull out the.
I was just say if you
old
need me
cellular.
if you need me to give you some odds, I have them right in front of me.
Throw some odds at me. Right?
So Xavier Worthy's plus money to score a touchdown.
Okay.
You got Devontae Smith at plus 240, AJ Brown at plus 180. I feel like there's good value there. You got Dallas Goddard at plus 320.
For touchdown.
Anytime touchdown.
I like Dallas.
Isaiah Pacheco is at plus 360. Anytime touchdown scorer.
He scares me, honestly. Like, I don't know. Like, he hasn't looked nearly.
Not since returning from injury.
Yeah, he has not looked like himself this year with the injuries that he sustained.
Here, do you want a deep shot? Do you want like a low key, like really secret play that
What's up?
might benefit you? This one anytime touchdown score. Plus 3,400. Peyton Hendershot.
Peyton
The
Hendershot.
former Cowboys tight end.
That would be I feel like there's always a weird guy.
Philadelphia-
scoring a touchdown.
Philadelphia, more than anyone else, tend to use their tight ends. Kansas City tends to use their tight ends in more unique ways than I ever really like. Noah Gray. When you have Travis Kelce and you got a guy like Noah Gray that's catching touchdowns left and right,
Yeah.
they find ways to get multiple tight ends involved, and I feel like you can get them in the right package in the red zone. Again, they're gonna be, they're gonna pull out all the stops, the Super Bowl, and again, given the stat that I was telling you about earlier, where Vic Fangio has kind of had their number in the red zone, I feel like they're gonna get real sneaky, get real tricky with it. Watch it, Peyton Hendershot plus 3,400, $10 gets you 350.
Okay, I like it. Who do I like? I mean, Xavier Worthy. If you could do his rushing and receiving, I feel like that's been hitting throughout the postseason for sure. Whenever his over for rushing receiving is
63.5.
63.5. I might take that for the Super Bowl.
I mean, you can do one catch and run.
right? You could, yeah, we're on. That's what like this season. So this season, to believe it or not, has been my most successful fantasy / betting season.
Dude, you were smoking everyone in fantasy.
I won 4 leagues in
crazy.
fantasy. I won a good amount of parlays this year. I hit on this one touchdown parlay. I forget who he even was. It was like 4 legs. I won like $200 and some dollars. I know probably like Skylar's watching right now, and he's probably gonna come in
chump
and say
change.
he's got his chump change because he's won a lot. On the Josh Allen win MVP, he won $900.
He must have put down.
He put down 100.
Jeez.
100, and he boosted it to 900 plus 900, and so he won.
That's a nice little check for him.
Yeah, so he got $900. But I've won because years past. There's a year here or there. I won maybe one parlay for like $80. Like cool.
Right.
But the Detroit Washington game, I bet a live Jameson Williams touchdown won like $80. I hit a parlay that game too for another like $90. So yeah, I've
and people are gonna hear that and they're like, "Oh, that's not much." But it's like when you're only putting down a couple bucks on things.
I don't
like,
put down more than $10.
I was just say you're a five. You and me are the same in the sense that we're like $5 and $10.
$5 and $10, maybe get crazy, do like a $15 bet.
Mm-hmm. If you're like super confident.
Yeah, so I take it easy. When it gets to MLB season, last year I started doing no run first inning bets. And what I would do is, just pick one game like Athletics versus Chicago White Sox, like 2 bad teams, and then I would win like $8.27.
Oh, you're degenerate.
I would hold on. I would put that $8.27 on the next NRFI and keep doubling my winnings. There was a time last year I won almost $200. Like
that's
in a span of like a week and a half.
That's like back when Christian McCaffrey was scoring a touchdown a game, and if you were to put anytime touchdown score and you were to just keep inputting your winnings over and over again, you would have rolled like $10 into like $10,000 or something.
Right.
Like that.
And like Jules and like Dame and like all of them, like in a group chat with them, and like they'll flame me. Like I'll send in a play, be like, "Yo, this is minus 220 for his NRFI," and I'm like, "Yo, just put down like 10 here, and then just like don't deposit anything in, get your winnings, and just keep doubling it, and just keep going,
double and give it to the next one."
Yeah, and so like they flame me for it, but I profited a good amount of money from that. So
hey,
I'm excited.
No pocket watching around here.
I'm excited for baseball this year. So but going back to betting, I've been enjoying doing rushing receiving combinations, passing and rushing too. I think this game with Patrick Mahomes has been running a lot more than he has in years past. I think you could take his rushing, or maybe if his passing and rushing deliver
Jalen Hurts' pass rush is 254.5.
I like that for Super Bowl.
Mahomes is 283.5 for passing rushing.
283.5. That one's a little suspect.
That's high.
That's high for him. But Hurts, I like. I like Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, he had 3 touchdown runs in one game. I'm looking at Jalen Hurts' touchdown run.
He's the second highest odds to score a touchdown at minus 115.
I see. That's not bad. That's not bad. To parlay, you have to parlay it though.
Absolutely.
So, sprinkle that on. I like Dallas Goedert receptions too. Maybe do like an alternate of like 4 or 5. He's been doing pretty good with receptions. The only guy I'm probably staying off of just because his odds are going to be so high is anything Saquon Barkley related.
Yeah, he's at 109.5 for rushing yards.
Oof. I mean, you could probably take that, honestly. I mean, Chiefs have a good defense, but it's so hard for him not to go under 100. Like, I like his chances of going over 100 more than under 100 for obvious reasons. So, I mean, if you really need something to stack on top of your parlay, you really don't have anything else to play, like throw Saquon's over on there, but just a little risky.
The real question for all the bets:
Mhm.
what do you think the over/under is going to be on the national anthem?
The national anthem.
120.5 is the line for seconds.
120 and a half.
Over/under set.
Who is
right at 2
singing that?
minutes.
Who is singing the national anthem? Do you
New
have the-
Orleans native John Batiste. You got that little New Orleans flair. Mateo's looking at me like I know that guy.
Is
You
he,
actually do know
is he
him?
a slow singer?
Not traditionally.
You might actually you have inside odds on this. Is he a slower singer or is how would you think his pacing is?
He normally does like I know him mostly as like a piano player, not a singer.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Maybe he throws a little riff in there. I don't know. I given the insight that you're giving me, I might take the under here.
Give me the over.
Let's do it.
Give me the over. I don't know. I mean, I maybe I'll look at a video of him like singing and see if I can gauge that. But if he had like I remember like Aretha Franklin like performed. She might have done the national anthem, or she did a halftime show in Detroit. That thing was long, man. Like I'm like, yo.
2013, Alicia Keys had 156 seconds.
Yeah, Alicia Keys.
That was a long
she,
one.
She belts out some notes, man. You know, I can see that.
Neil Diamond had the shortest in 1987, 62 seconds. I don't think we're gonna get another 62-second.
No. But I took the over. Why not?
I like this one. Number of songs performed by Kendrick Lamar during the halftime show. Over/under set at 10.5.
Over.
Take the over
I'm
there.
going over because a lot of the times with halftime show artists, there's songs that are embedded. They're like quick transitions.
Mhm.
So like not trying to talk about my GOAT, but The Weeknd, he performed
New album.
album of the year already. It's February.
Jeez.
All right, okay. He performed, I'm pretty sure, over 10 songs, and some of them are just like the ones like Call Out My Name. Like I don't know if anybody know that song. Like that was just like an intro, and it was like only 15 second song. Like literally he would just throw out like a transition like here and there. That was another song. So like 10.5, I could see it. And he's had a lot of hits since 2012. I mean, he has 2 albums, 2 albums that are, in my mind, 2 of the greatest albums of all time in To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City. And so, I mean, 10.5 seems like a good number for
Here
me.
we go. The other one, speaking of Kendrick Lamar, is first song played.
Not
That's
like
going to
us.
be tough. Not like us, says Mateo. Not like us
us.
is sitting at plus 210 odds.
I mean, I could see it, but that's the thing, though. It's like, do you want to start off with your biggest song right now, or do you want to,
I like that at the
save
odds is
it.
the last song. I don't have those odds in front of me, but
Yeah.
first song, Humble is the favorite right now at plus 115.
Really?
Yeah, Humble and DNA.
What did he perform at the Rams-Bengals one? Do we remember? Remember he was there?
Oh, he had an appearance. I forget what he did.
I know he did Good Kid, Mad City, the song.
I like
He only performed 2 songs.
TV Off is a good one. I feel like that could be a good
TV
play.
Off could
That's
be.
sitting at
Squabble
plus
Up.
430. Squabble
Squabble
Up.
Up.
Same vein. I think that's also.
You
at
want to know
plus
what my
430.
pick might be? I feel like he might go a little slow to start off.
All right,
I think he might do Luther with SZA.
plus 750.
I
know
might
what?
take Luther, man.
I like
because SZA's also gonna be there.
low key. Oh, that's a good play.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe something like Money Trees.
Money Trees
Money
could be.
Trees is at plus 900.
Yeah,
Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe plus 900.
that song's tricky though because you have to blurt it out. Like you're gonna have to say what Trick Don't Kill My Vibe, whatever the clean version is.
Trick.
Trick Don't Kill My Vibe,
Or of course, probably like all-time banger Swimming Pools
Yeah,
plus 750. Hold up, drank.
yeah. I don't know. I think he's leaning. I feel like he's leaning towards the new stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
I
think he's gonna integrate some of those old songs like
King
Swimming
Kunta
Pools.
is the 4th highest odds.
King Kunta.
Yeah. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know if
Someone might have some insider knowledge with that one because that's
Yeah.
a random deep cut.
Right. It was a big song though.
Actually, my my pick for first song, I. You remember that song
Oh,
from?
yeah. That was,
Mateo looked up at that one too.
I.
That's a wild song.
What about All the Stars?
All the Stars is sitting at plus 1,000. That's a good play. That's a really good play. Like you said, SZA's. You have something there because SZA's gonna be
I'm
there.
thinking either Luther or All the Stars. Dude.
All this, and then like
Yeah.
they're starting to come down, and then it gets dark, and then he opens up with, I got.
I might do like 2 separate bets. I might do
Yeah.
like Luther, and then I might do All the Stars.
If you hop, skip, and jump over to Canada, you can actually bet on those on FanDuel Canada.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll be in Canada later.
Across the border. Place an odd.
Go to Big Texas or
Hey,
something.
Place a bet at the Big Texas. We'll see, you never know.
Jesus Christ.
So before we go, what's your outright prediction?
All right, prediction. Give me Chiefs. I don't want to pick them.
I know. Heart says Eagles, brain says
I'm
Chiefs.
rooting for Eagles, obviously. I think Chiefs are gonna they've been finding so many ways and pulling it out of their butts, you know.
It would only make sense for this season.
Right. So give me Chiefs. Am I giving a score prediction at all? Or?
Sure, yeah, throw it in there.
Give me Super Bowl. I feel like is always usually like a weird score. Give me. Give me Chiefs 31, Philadelphia 23.
All right, you're looking at plus 16,000 odds for that. That would be $10 to win $1,600. 31-23. That's a good score.
31.
I like that.
I feel like Eagles gonna kick a couple field goals, but they're gonna come up a little short.
And you know what? A lot of people in Vegas agree with you because that is like one of the higher odds on there.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe I know something. I don't.
You gotta dream about it. I don't know. I'm probably gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna be right there with you. I'm thinking this is gonna be like Chiefs 34, Eagles 28. That's
All right.
my guess. Chiefs 34, Eagles 28.
Good guess.
34. Let's see, 34 and 28. Yeah, that's at plus 26,000. $10 would net you 2,600. But yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think the Chiefs are going to pull away with this one. But I think it's going to be a shootout. I think this Chiefs offense has really turned on the Jets in the playoffs specifically. So.
Especially Xavier Worthy. Travis Kelce turns it on in the postseason. I know he didn't do much against Buffalo, but Worthy has been great. I think a catalyst in this game is, speaking of Isaiah Pacheco, I think, Hunt or Pacheco need to find success running the ball. Because I think if you make Kansas City one-dimensional, that's how Philly is going to be able to strike. And then for Philly, it's, Saquon Barkley, I don't see him getting slowed down much at all. But for Jalen Hurts, you really got to connect with A.J. Brown.
Yep.
He loves Dallas Goedert, but I think getting Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown going are going to be key. I'm not too worried about Saquon Barkley, though. I think he's going to finish with 100 yards.
He'll get his
He'll
one way or
get
another.
his. It's the only thing is like, there are some reports that Jalen Hurts has been battling some injuries throughout the season, postseason. He has like a nagging knee injury, per Rodney, from what he's told me. So we'll see. I mean, as long as Hurts is going to have to be double dimensional too. I mean, they have Barkley's rushing, but I think he's going to need to take off here and there. But really connecting with, if they take away A.J. Brown, then you got to get Devontae Smith going, vice versa.
Absolutely.
So I could see Philly winning this thing, but I just think that it's going to be Kansas City, unfortunately. So
I'm right there with you.
yeah,
That is all I have for you today. Does it feel weird to be in the guest chair?
it does, but it does, but it doesn't. Like
Yeah.
it feels different, but it felt a little bit different to start off. Like part of me wanted to say like, Alrighty, here we are, Big Yak Podcast. As your host, Mike Moreno, alongside me, Nico Salameni. Like, part of me wanted to say that, kind of
Yeah.
like alrighty when I
Yep.
was marching everybody out in the academy. But no, I mean it felt good.
Feel it. It's like riding a bike, right?
Yeah,
He said this before he came on. He was like, "Yeah, this was my first time like coming back and speaking
yeah. I
since
haven't.
all of this."
Yeah, I haven't really been on any shows. I mean, been tuning in here. I've been tuning in. Shout out Virtuosos as well. Shout out Tank Talk. Always see their clips. Dear friends of mine, and so. But I never have recorded or been on a episode or a podcast here in this new building at Emerge. Since they've transported over, I've done some photography work here and there. But I love what Moranto has done with the place.
Doesn't this feel like the OG room?
This feels like the OG room.
Yeah.
I know, the ceiling. You guys can't see, but the ceiling is kind of more like open. The sound doesn't bounce off like how it does like in the old room.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's good. Also, I like the lighting in here a lot
The
better
lighting
too. I
is-
felt like
It's very like
the old room.
good vibes.
The old room, not the one downstairs, but the OG one upstairs. I remember trying to edit some clips sometimes, and it was dark. It was like we're in the dark.
Yeah, I figured
So,
some things out, which has been great.
Yeah.
It's a blast. It was an absolute blast having you back on. And
Thank you. Yeah, I
Oh.
mean, I've been itching to talk football. I've been so busy. It's been showing a little bit. I talk in group chats here and there. I talk to
starting
people
to
out in
yap
public.
again.
Well, starting to yap again, but I could tell some of my football knowledge, kind of, I wasn't as sharp as I
Yeah.
was years prior. I don't know what it was. I had this one take. I forget. I was talking to Jules, and it was just totally random and incorrect of me, and Jules was like, "Damn, who's this Mike? What's going on here?" I'm like, I don't I sat there and I reread what I the take I had. I forget what it was, but I was like,
Like,
"Damn,
what have I become?
What have I become? This
I've
isn't-
become a casual.
This isn't me." So too much firefighting stuff, But now that the academy's over,
Yeah, what about Shots by Mike P? How's that going?
Shots by Mike P's been good.
Obviously, your schedule's way different now, right?
Yeah, it's been a little slow as of recently. Well, obviously because it's freezing outside.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to do photo shoots that much. I mean, I've only had one or two in January. I think I have one planned next week. But last year I had last fall. I had probably one of my most successful.
Well, I was going to
runs.
say, when you stepped away from the show, that gave you, and that's why you did it. You stepped away to kind of figure yourself out, and then
Yeah.
really kind of dive into Shots by Mike B. And
Yeah.
it paid. From what I saw and everything that you put out there, it paid off.
Yeah, I shout out to. So what happened is that spring of last year, I started doing. I got asked to do a photo shoot for Courtney Nawarda, a
Yep.
good friend of us, engagement shoot, and from there it kind of branched
Just
from she works at she does sugaring
yeah.
and stuff like
I
that.
think I follow her page.
Yeah, she's told me all about it. It's some real gross stuff. Shout out you, Courtney. I hope you enjoy it. But some of the stuff she told me, I'm like, ew.
Not for me.
Not for me. But she's she's told coworkers I basically I did a photo shoot. One of her coworkers reached out to me, and she wanted some family pictures done at her house. So I drove out there, took pictures there. Then they recommended me to another person. So it's kind of just a big snowball effect.
I mean, and that's how it is. That's
Yeah.
that's what it is to be a small
Networking.
business. Yeah.
networking is it's so powerful, and then it just kind of branched out. So last
That's
year.
awesome.
I did Courtney's wedding, and that was a big thing. That was a full day. I was there from 12 to 10.
Yeah.
But I had Dexter. Dexter was there. Who else was there?
Right. You knew people. which
Scott
was
Border
cool.
was there. A couple people I knew. And so it was a great time. So I did their wedding. I don't know if you remember her from high school, but Teresa Obermueller.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, she graduated with us, but I didn't talk to her in high school really. I think I had like an art class with her
Sure.
at one point, and I remember her. But yeah, she reached out, did her wedding, and then I did another wedding. Kristen Gursky from Wegmans actually put me
Oh,
on
really?
this one.
Yeah.
It was a masquerade wedding out in Clarence, and it was a little interesting. Really didn't know what to do. Like I was just
Did you have
like,
to wear a mask?
I didn't have to wear a mask, but people wore masks, and it was just kind of like, all right, like I don't really know.
Am
what's
I
going
gonna die here, or am I gonna have a great time?
I was like, I don't really know what's going on, but screw it. Let's take some pictures. And so, so I propelled with like weddings and doing stuff like that, and those are the types of shoots that are gonna get you,
Those
know,
are the big ticket.
big ticket ones.
Yeah.
Gonna get you paid. You're gonna get you following. All that kind of stuff. It's been slower the last couple months, and especially because like I just graduated from the academy. It's kind of like, like it was a change of going into the academy, and then now it's another change of like being on the line as a firefighter. So I got 4 days off. Like I'm hoping. I spend time with Isabella. I try to do any kind of photo shoots if they come about.
Nice.
Plan on doing some traveling, here and there.
As you should.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
Got bought weekend tickets today too. Those
Nice.
are
Toronto?
expensive. Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew you.
In
yeah.
August. Oh, of course.
I knew you'd be
Four
there
seats too.
doing- Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If I know Mike Pareto, I know he's going all out for the weekend.
Yeah, they actually one quick story, last story before we go.
This is great.
Yeah.
Like after hours.
After hours. What time are we at? I don't want to.
We're at 70 minutes. You're good.
1:16. All right.
That's good. That's
All right. One quick
I know.
story.
I texted him before the show started. I was like, yeah, I reduced the time of the show. It's like 30, 40 minutes usually.
It's all right.
You know us. It's
Yeah.
going to go an hour 20.
This
it was
and
very
yap.
consistently hour 20. Yeah.
This and yeah. So
Yeah, Big Yap podcast. It's all
big
good.
yeah podcast. To anybody who knows me real personally, I have a weekend tattoo that goes along like my ribs right here.
Show it off.
I don't know about that.
Strip down for us, Mike.
So I have it's a series of tattoos representing his albums, and so I'm getting another one.
Well, you have to now because he has a new album.
Yeah, so I'm getting another one added on, and so second week of being on the line and everything, they're asking me and another guy, Dom Cateno, who's also a new guy with me. We are both we both have tattoos, and so they're asking like, oh, like what kind of tattoos you guys got. So like I really didn't want to say what it was, but I was like, you know what, like they're gonna see it sometime, like maybe like I'm taking my shirt off or something, and they see it. I'd rather them just know now. And so I'm like, all right, like I'm not embarrassed by it, but like I know people have like
People got their own thoughts.
people have their perceptions of it, like Dom has like a tattoo on his forearm of like it's like a sun and like a jack-o'-lantern in it. And it's like they flame him all the time for it. But I'm like, he has a reason for getting it. And I'm like, if you like it, you like it,
Right. To each
So-
their own. It's their body.
Yeah, so this, has a lot of meaning. The Weeknd I've been a fan of his since like 2014, 15. He's changed my life sometimes.
And it's like it's the same generation that's making fun of people. You guys literally followed the Grateful Dead from city to city. Like I don't want to
Right.
hear anything about you putting some ink on your skin.
Right, so I fanboy. To anybody who knows me, I do fanboy over him a little bit. It's not gonna lie,
It's
all good. But I got it tattooed here on my rib cage. It's not his face, but it's just his albums. And so
His face would be kind of crazy.
his face would be crazy.
But the albums, I like that. It's art.
So
It's
I-
art.
Yeah, I showed that. I lifted my shirt up. I showed them, and they were just cracking up laughing. They were like, "Dude, what the heck is that? Like, what does that even mean? Like, that's gibberish." And I'm like, "Dude, like." I like broke down like what each symbol meant, and they're like, "Dude, that's probably like the stupidest thing I've ever seen." And I'm like, "I don't care. Like, I love it. Like,
And that's all that matters.
yeah, like I like it. I think it looks good. And that's all that matters. But yeah, no, they flame me for it, and I'm just like, listen, man, you can't. What's it called? You can't hate me for being me, man. Like, come on.
Don't
But-
hate me because I'm beautiful.
Don't hate me
like-
because I'm beautiful. Like, come on. But yeah, no. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I got for my little story. But
That's
he's
amazing.
tatted on me, and I don't care, man. As long as it's not his face.
Who cares? Yeah, that's exactly it.
Right.
It's the same thing if you had an artist. Like if it was like a physical artist and you had a painting tatted on you. It's the same thing. It's
Right.
their art.
Right.
That's what you say. That's what you say. It's their art.
Right. So yeah, going to the weekend, August 8th in Toronto. Sitting on the floor. Gonna
Jealous.
be crazy.
Maybe I'll see you there.
Come on.
I
yeah,
like
it's
went
four
off. I went off to Brie. I was like, hey, the weekend's coming to Toronto. Let's go.
yeah, there's
Let's
4
go.
shows in Toronto. So I mean, by all
And
means. go.
they'll all sell out too.
Oh yeah, they all did. I waited in line. I waited in line for them, and at one point I was 53,000 people away from tickets.
Hey, but you know what? You got them.
I got tickets, so I mean, screw it. But like, I'm just like, oh, my pockets.
That probably hurt.
Ugh.
That one probably hurt.
Oh, it hurt. Never spent money on a concert like this, so it's yeah.
It's all good. You know what? It's you do it for the
I feel like
experience.
Taylor Swift.
The
you
money
know?
will come back. That's what you got to keep telling you. The money will come back.
Oh, the money
It's-
is gonna come back.
It's just green paper. You know, do the experiences while you can.
You just kind of like have to like bite down, like you have to like bite like a cloth and just like, like it's kind of like
Sink the knife in and
kind of
turn it
like
a
you
little
know
bit.
putting your like finger back in the place you dislocated. It's like like rip the band-aid off.
I was gonna say that one's probably the easier analogy.
Yeah, I don't know. That was really graphic. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Like becoming a firefighter has made me
Brother, I missed this.
Yeah, it's made me a psychopath. So
That's amazing. That is all I have for you guys today. I'll leave you with the image of Mike relocating his finger. This is just like old times. This is amazing.
yeah.
So once again, thank you for coming out of podcast retirement and
course.
chatting Super Bowl with me. It was only right with
course.
the Super Bowl here. It was only right that this episode was going to be the return of Mike.
Of course.
You know, hopefully we can collaborate again in the future. I have some projects on the way that I'll be discussing in more detail on another date as I begin to finalize those things. So I'm going to be looking for guests there. It would be
course.
really cool to bring you back in and we can talk offline as the business world says. We
Listen
can
me
talk
up.
offline about it. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you again, Mike, for coming on and
of course.
and being a great talent as always.
Of course.
Thank you, Mateo, for producing, being very flexible with us, with me particularly in my wonky schedule the last few weeks. It's been kind of crazy in the world of Nico with all these different things going on around me. But hey, we still have an episode, so thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Rich Moranto and Emerge, BICBP Radio Networks. Thank you all, and God bless. Go Bills.
Go Bills. I knew it was gonna go on. Like you said 35 to 40 minutes.
You're
I'm
like, yeah.